fell in love with him all over the world. We had a thing right before we went abroad, but because we knew that we would be in different countries in little over a month, we decided to keep things casual. That didn't last. Before I knew it, we were standing together on the cliffs in Ireland and traveling to Italy to visit my family and stumbling into a cafe for tapas at 4 a.m. in Spain. He rubbed my back when I got carsick on the bus ride to the cliffs of Moher and took my glasses off when I fell asleep on his shoulder on the ride to Italy's countryside, and held my hand yet fell with me anyway, laughing into the slick brick streets of Madrid after a downpour. He was perfect, I thought. And we kept saying it was only a matter of time before we were back in the States, and it was a quick walk to and from our dorms instead of a flight, and a good night and see you tomorrow instead of a tearful hug at customs. We counted down the days until we got back to the States. I should have stopped counting. See, he would get upset when he drank, yelling at me and only knowing to stop once I had reached the point of tears. Sometimes he didn't stop. I cried too much, he said. It had no effect on him anymore. And as I stared at him through hot tears that blurred my vision, I wondered what I could have done to make another person so angry. Questioning my existence when I started to believe him when he said that I made his life miserable. And then the clouds parted. I woke up the next morning with him holding me, sobbing, apologizing profusely. He said that it would never happen again, and he didn't know what was wrong with him, and he would get help. But it continued. Things escalated. He would yell at me at parties, throw food at me in public, storming out and leaving people staring. Texted me that he hated me, and then following up minutes later saying he didn't mean it. And when I got back late from a friend's house one night, he was so angry that I grew scared and locked myself in the bathroom, only knowing to come out when the banging on the other side of the door had subsided, which signaled that he had fallen asleep. And the apologies came rolling in the next day. He promised that things would be fine, and for a while they were. He would justify it by saying that I had deserved it at the time, and if I hadn't done X or Y, it wouldn't have happened, and he smirked at the thought of this being an abusive relationship. He had never hit me. And how do you even prove emotional abuse? How do you prove a bruise I could make sense of, someone I love telling me I was worthless, didn't make any sense. The months rolled by, a blend of normalcy and nightmares. I wore my contacts. No, I wore my glasses several days in a row because my eyes were so swollen and sore from crying that I couldn't get my contacts in. There were days I couldn't eat because the knot in my stomach kept me full. And I slept all the time because it was my only remedy from my perpetual migraine. I saw the world with him, and in a few months, he took it away from me. I lost sight of those cliffs, those cities, those brick-lined streets, and grew trapped in an echo chamber of his words that began to feel less like petty insults and more like the truth. It's been months since our breakup. His words haven't gone away, but with each passing day, their stamp on my mind fades just a little more. One day I will go back to those cliffs and those cities and those brick-lined streets. I will re-see everything without the filter of a whirlwind relationship that now feels as far away as the locations that fueled it. I want to see the world And this time, when I look back to remember it, I won't see him.